Are you ready to do the Marty Supreme review?
Yeah.
Just yeah? Look, we have an obligation to this review. With obligation comes sacrifice. All right, we have a purpose.
I think you might be putting too much pressure on this review.
You know what happens when you're bleeding and you don't put pressure on it? You die.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the
No,
best.
I'm not perfect. That doesn't even enter my consciousness. This review has got to be better than good. All right, it's got to be great. It's got to be sweat. It's got to be sweat. You understand? The review has got to be sweat. You understand?
Hello, everyone. We just saw the much anticipated Marty Supreme, and we're really excited to dive into this film.
Am I still a character?
Yes. I can feel your aggression, like, radiating. I'm not sure if we've ever mentioned this before, but we are massive Uncut Gems fans. Uncut Gems.
Right.
Now, I know this isn't like a true Safdie brothers film because we only have the one Safdie, the one
Just
lonely
Josh Safdie.
Safdie by himself.
Right, and I would say that I'm gonna take these off. It gives me power. I'm in character when I wear them. I gotta take. But yeah, I think this was a really, very highly anticipated film for us, and I think we sort of had an interesting reaction watching the film. I feel like on the way home, we talked mostly about how the film frustrated us, but we both somehow felt really overall positive about the film, which is kind of an odd thing to happen.
Yeah, overall, I had a lot of fun with Marty Supreme, but I think sometimes when a film is so close to being perfect, what stops it from reaching those levels of perfection really becomes like an itch you can't scratch.
Yeah, that's for me too. So why don't we start by telling everyone what or who Marty Supreme is?
Sure. So Marty Supreme is directed by the one lonely Safdie brother. Set in 1950s New York, Timothy Chalamet is Marty Mauser, a ping pong player who dreams and schemes with his eyes set on being a ping pong champion. And as we mentioned before, we are big fans of Uncut Gems, and I think there's a lot of similarities in this film.
Yeah, it takes place in New York. It follows a hustler type who's constantly getting himself out of stressful situations.
And both Sandler and Chalamet, I would say, are very flawed characters with like very selfish and impulsive tendencies.
Yeah, this is a role that really blends public perception of Chalamet's real life persona with a character who often sounds a lot like Chalamet's SAG speech.
I'm really in pursuit of greatness. I know people don't usually talk like that, but I want to be one of the greats.
I mean, this is the perfect role for him. Chalamet longs for greatness in his real life, and so does Marty. I know we would both rank this as probably Chalamet's best performance yet, would you say?
Oh yeah, I think so.
And I will say, I think it's been a real talent of Safdie's to really highlight the best qualities of the actors that he casts in his films.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of snappy dialogue in this film, and often it feels like Marty's mind is processing faster than his mouth can even speak words. He's incredibly cocky, he's self-righteous, and I think we both sometimes struggled even rooting for this character because he's not incredibly likable, to be honest. Like charismatic? Yes. But often Marty, the character, really just sees people as a stepping stone to get where he needs to go. A movie that actually came across my brain while watching this film was the Steven Soderbergh movie. Have you seen The Informant with Matt Damon? It's probably one of the best films I've seen about a character who is a compulsive liar. And I don't know if this will be everyone's takeaway, but to me, Marty Supreme was one of the best character studies surrounding a narcissist that I've ever seen.
And sometimes I think it was a little too much to ask from us as an audience, especially as we reached this like final showdown. There was like the sense of detachment for me. I wasn't as on the edge of my seat as I think Safdie was expecting us to be during that scene, solely because Marty as a character isn't somebody you're naturally rooting for.
Right. I think we also talked about too that Marty's a character, he always seems so controlled, like nothing will really rattle him. So he keeps it all really kind of like cool and collected that I don't think we feel incredibly stressed like we should.
If you're not worried, why should I be worried?
Right.
As opposed to like in Uncut Gems, he was constantly stressed out.
Oh yeah.
And that was stressing me.
It was emotive.
It was stressing me out.
But also in terms of likability, I don't think it's like a requirement to like like your main character. I think it also just depends on each individual viewer how much you'll like Marty. This film really embodies that American dream spirit, and there's a lot of people who will relate, including Chalamet himself probably, to Marty's desire to be, great. The pursuit of greatness at all costs, doesn't resonate with me personally, but Marty does represent this kind of belief of American exceptionalism, kind of like similar to Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
This movie had some similarities to that because Safdie almost feels like he's challenging the audience to resist rooting for this flawed character, and partly because Marty is essentially a small fish in a larger tank of bigger and more powerful fishes. So I did find myself rooting for him in that sense because ultimately he is kind of an underdog in this story. An underdog who's also kind of a jerk.
Yeah, and I think the difference though with Wolf of Wall Street is that Scorsese does make it clear.
Right.
On like where he stands, like his beliefs on what these type of people deserve. But it's so difficult to really unpack our feelings without getting into spoiler territory, so we'll just leave that there. However, I will say Marty Mauser is practically an unemotional robot of ambition. This is how the character is intentionally designed, but there is a moment of vulnerability in the conclusion, and while I think Chalamet's acting was extraordinary in that moment, it felt a little bit out of left field.
Yeah, I had a very similar response to the film when I saw it. I thought I would be completely alone on that front. Yeah, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I did feel that same kind of disconnect with the Marty that we got to know throughout the film. All of his previous actions, they just didn't match for me for where the character lands. Clip out the scene out of the film though, individually, it's a great scene with some, like you said, incredible acting, but in the context, yeah, it didn't really add up for me. And that was kind of the majority of our discussion on the way home, because I think we really wanted that moment to work. It would have really been the cherry on top. So we were referencing earlier moments of the films. We're oh, well, remember he mentioned that, or he briefly mentioned this. There are little seeds that the film plants, but on the first viewing, I just didn't get enough struggle within Chalamet's character for that final scene to resonate with me. There are aspects of the film that I do relate to, in terms of reinvention. Marty seems to have a desire to escape his origin and cloak any inner turmoil he has in this pursuit of excellence. Some of the vagueness surrounding Marty's origin, I think, feels intentional. There are glimpses into Marty's past, but Marty is less interested in talking about who he really is, and he's more interested in talking about the person that he will become. And I think that's part of the film's point as a character study, that Marty is running away from who he is. Right?
Yeah, and I will say Safdie does do a really good job at portraying that feeling within this, with his direction. Similar to Uncut Gems, this story is very chaotic. It's high octane. Yeah. It's this journey that's constantly on the go.
Yeah, and Uncut Gems, I would say, is a lot tighter in terms of creating a story that felt like a pressure cooker, but Marty Supreme still shares that same kind of intensity. There's a lot of little detours within the film. I think Babylon was another film that did come across my mind because, like Babylon, it's also a really chaotic odyssey. It's audacious and is exciting, but it also could be pretty unwieldy and at times pretty exhausting sometimes.
I personally prefer Uncut Gems
because
of that upward trajectory that keeps building the pressure until it erupts.
Yeah.
But the canvas Josh Safdie is working with is definitely much larger, much more ambitious. It's a very grand scope film. A real highlight of this film is the period detail production design and cinematography, which I believe was shot on film.
Yes, I believe 35 millimeter. Cinematographer Darius Kanji shoots Marty in a very realistic way. It uses, I think, a lot of natural lighting. It's very gritty, and when the film gets chaotic, he kind of shoots it in this very handheld style. Really, it feels energetic, feels very much alive. Chaotic.
The music is incredible too.
Yeah, very good.
Similar to Uncut Gems, it's that 80s synthesizer type of score that's just so atmospherically manic and dreamy, and it just pulsates with that fast paced editing.
Yeah.
And we should talk about some of the other actors in this film, because it's not just Chalamet.
Adessa Zion is really terrific in the film, while Marty, the character, kind of struggles showing his emotion. Zion shows a wide range of emotion, from anger to heartbreak to anguish, everything under the sun. And I won't give it away, but there's also a nice reveal within the film that really took her character into a new direction. I think as an actress, I think she was a real standout for me in the film.
Yeah, the entire cast is great. I feel like the Safdies are always so good at their casting. They're known for their outside-the-box casting choices, often mixed with professionals and non-professional actors. For example, one character in this film is an arrogant, rich a-hole.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of casting an actor, they just cast Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Leary.
Exactly. And it's not really like much of a stretch for him, but as an actor, I kind of thought he fit right in with the cast. I thought he was really good. Often his dialogue about like power or capitalism, it felt ripped out of one of the episodes of Shark Tank, but I thought he was great.
Yeah, I liked him. I didn't find him distracting at all. I thought
No, he fit right in.
perfect for the role.
And Tyler, the creator, he plays like a fellow ping pong player friend. I think he brings a lot of natural charisma to the role as well.
I agree. Personally, I wish they would have featured him a little bit more. Similarly, Fran Drescher plays Marty's mother, and in her brief moments, she was really good. Again, though, I wish they would have featured her a little bit more. Yeah. I think it would have helped, too, with Marty's backstory if we would have seen more of her. Gwyneth Paltrow, who we haven't seen in a while, she has a sizable role.
She was good.
And I thought she was really solid. She plays this movie star whose, like, fame has teetered off.
Yeah, there are like two sides to her character, like one who's annoyed by Marty and another one who seems really drawn to Marty and is like young ambition and naivete. I was very eager coming into this movie to see what Penn Jillette would be playing because, I'm a big fan. And I assumed it would integrate like his magician skills or his vocabulary or something.
Corny.
Yeah, he is playing really against type here. But anything else?
No, I mean, I just wanted to say that despite some of these minor issues that we have with the story, it still was one of the best films that we've seen this year, I think. I do hope to see the Safdie brothers duo return in the future, though, because I think I do miss Benny Safdie's, like, little hearts that he puts into this film. I think I realized after seeing their separate works this year that Josh has a really great command of his filmmaking skill sets and crafts. He's like 90% there, but I feel like that 10% that's missing is Benny's heart. And I think I saw that in his film this year. Like, he brings a lot of heart and emotion. I think that's why I think I'm at a 9. I think that's appropriate for me to be at a 9. Again, one of the best films I have seen this year. Really great, fun, entertaining film. Highly recommend.
Yeah, initially I came out of the theater, I think it was at an 8. But there is something fascinating about this film. I think there's, again, a lot of incredible craft on display. Chalamet, I don't even think we've discussed just kind of how charismatic and great he is in this film. His character, of course, can be pretty frustrating and inaccessible, but he's an enigma kind of character, and you don't always root for him, but you can't take your eyes off of him. So I'm going to agree with you. I think it's a fascinating movie to talk about and watch. We never had more enjoyable discussion home than Marty Supreme. So
yeah, that's what it's all about, right?
Exactly. So I'm going to agree with you. I think it was a overall really great movie. So I'm going to go with a 9.
Well, there you have it. Marty Supreme comes out on Christmas Day, and nothing says Christmas like Chalamet
stealing your jewelry.
Yeah, exactly. So let us know what you think about the film once you watch it. Ryan, you're the Oscar guy. So is Chalamet going to win his Oscar?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's going to win. Do I think it's a slam dunk, though? I don't think it's a slam dunk. I do think there's still a race to be had, possibly. But I do think he kind of seals the deal with one scene in particular where Chalamet, I will just say, kind of unmask the persona of Marty. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, that's why he's probably the front runner. Chalamet has obviously been building for an Oscar for multiple years now. He got really close last year with A Complete Unknown winning SAG. I think what really helps is that he plays the character that is the title of the film. You know, if you look at previous winners, we have Hopkins in The Father, we have Phoenix and Joker, we have Will Smith in King Richard, Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer, and sometimes being the central point of a film, I think really does help. And Leonardo DiCaprio, I think, gives one of the best performances of his career in One Battle After Another. But the film in Marty Supreme hardly shifts perspective away from Chalamet. It's nearly him the entire time. And DiCaprio shares that screen with a lot of ensemble of characters. So I think that really does benefit Chalamet in this way.
Yeah, I agree. I think all the puzzle pieces that are there for winning an Oscar are there, you know, like you said, he's the title of the film. He's always on camera. We follow the whole thing through him. It's based on a true character. And he has his Oscar scene at the end. If the character was more likable, I think it would be, like you said, a slam dunk. But I still think all the puzzle pieces are there. So I'm thinking most likely, yeah, that's going to happen. Or if they see him as too young, that's also a possibility.
Yeah, well.
Because there's been a history of mostly mature male actors winning.
Yeah, Tom O'Neill, what did he say? Slap the stud, right? That's a good old Tom O'Neill motto. The only obstacle is really kind of maybe the voters' overall enjoyment of this film. If they have a strong dislike for this character, subconsciously, they could be like, you know what? No, like, I don't want to vote for that character. But of course, voters should just look at performance alone. But sometimes these little, like, silly things, like voters...
seep into their self-conscious.
Yeah, it does. Subconsciously.
Subconsciously.
Yeah, like if you look at Rami Malek winning over a physically transformative Christian Bale in Vice, I think that's an example of a character they don't like. I don't like Dick Cheney. I do like Freddie Mercury. I think that may have played a factor there. Another person I think I would look out for, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon. I think he's very transformative in the role. I know the movie's not, going to be showing up in Best Picture, but I do think he also has a narrative of it being an established actor, putting in his time. But I'm already seeing Chalamet fans right now. He's screaming at me in the comment section to not even put that out in the atmosphere. Yeah, don't put it even out there. Yeah, but other than that, it's a film where the crafts are going to get a lot of recognition. So the likelihood of nominations in order, I would say actor number one, no doubt about it, he's getting nominated. Picture, editing, screenplay. I think those look pretty good, pretty locked. But then I would say very likely would be supporting actress for his eye on, director, score, and then next tier I think we have to consider cinematography, production design, casting, and costume design. So realistically, I think this could end up scoring around like 9 nominations. But when looking down the line, I think it's very likely that Chalamet will be the film's only win, like similar to King Richard. That was the only win for King Richard, just Best Actor. And I have heard rumblings about whether this could beat One Battle After Another in picture. Personally, I don't see it. I just kind of feel like if people hated Babylon, this film is not as crazy and off the charts as Babylon, but it is like 40% Babylon. I feel like this movie is going to be widely liked, but I wouldn't predict this film as being kind of that over-the-moon, crazy passion typically needed to win Best Picture. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I do think this film will be a solid film. Going to be nominated in a lot of categories.
I'm not used to your mustache. Doesn't matter what we think. What do you think about Marty's Oscar chances? We love hearing from you. And if you like this review, consider subscribing. We have more reviews coming your way, including Avatar 3 and Secret Agent. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we will see you
at the top, baby. Sweat!
And the
Sweat! Sweat!
And the Oscars!
Okay. Are you ready for the Marty Supreme review? Sorry. You asshole. Just yeah? All right, you ready for the Marty Supreme? Look, we have an obligation to do this review. With obligation comes... Stop looking at me.
Look at you.
No, you're good. Okay. Look, we have an obligation to this review. And with obligation comes purpose. Hold on, this is not gonna work.
You can't do it then.